It is Friday afternoon. The office is quiet. Most people are already thinking about the weekend. A notification appears on two phones at exactly the same moment. Payroll deposit, $5,000. Same company, same department, same age, same salary. Jake glances at the notification and slips his phone back into his pocket. Michael does the same. If you met them today, you would never notice a difference. Both are 30 years old. Both rent apartments. Both drive used cars. Both complain about inflation. Both tell themselves they'll start getting serious about money eventually. And yet, 30 years from now, one of them will have over $1 million. The other will spend his retirement years wondering where all the money went. Not because one was smarter, not because one got lucky, not because one earned more. They started in the exact same place. The difference came from a decision so small that neither of them thought much about it at the time. But before we get there, look around, look at the life they shared. The same morning commute, the same meetings, the same paycheck, the same rising rent, the same grocery bills, the same economic headlines telling them everything was getting more expensive. If financial success were determined by income alone, their futures would have been identical. But income has never been the thing that creates wealth. Direction does, and direction is invisible at first. That's why so many people miss it, because the beginning of a wealthy life looks exactly like the beginning of an ordinary one. At 30, Jake and Michael lived almost the same way. Friday dinners, weekend trips, streaming subscriptions, coffee on the way to work, the occasional impulse purchase that felt harmless because it only cost $20 or $30. Nothing reckless, nothing outrageous, just normal life, the kind of spending nobody remembers. And that's exactly why it matters. Most financial mistakes don't arrive wearing warning labels. They arrive disguised as convenience, as rewards, as little upgrades, as things everyone else is doing. One month becomes another, then another, then another. The money leaves quietly. And because it leaves quietly, nobody notices the future leaving with it. But Michael had one habit, just one. On the first day of every month before he could spend it, $500 was automatically moved into an index fund. He didn't study charts. He didn't watch financial news. He didn't try to beat the market. He simply removed the decision. Every month, $500, automatic. That's it. The transfer happened whether he felt motivated or not, whether the market was up or down, whether life was easy or difficult. Meanwhile, Jake kept telling himself he'd start later, not next decade, not next year, just later, after the raise, after the promotion, after things settle down. The problem is that things never settle down. Life is always expensive. There's always a reason to wait. The car repair, the wedding, the vacation, the medical bill, the move, the unexpected expense. Waiting always feels reasonable in the moment. That's why so many people do it. 5 years passed, then 10. Neither man felt rich. Neither man looked rich. If anything, Jake looked more successful. His apartment was nicer. His vacations looked better on Instagram. His car was newer. Michael still looked ordinary. No luxury watch, no flashy purchases, no visible signs of wealth, which created an illusion, the illusion that nothing was happening, but something was happening, something powerful. Every month, Michael was buying another tiny piece of his future. And every month, those pieces were beginning to multiply, slowly, quietly, invisibly. Compounding never looks impressive in the beginning. That's why most people quit before it works. The first years feel almost disappointing. You check the account, the number is small. You contribute more money, the number is still small. Nothing about it feels life-changing. But then something strange happens. The account starts making money on its own. And once money starts earning money, the rules change. Now time becomes an employee. Now every year works harder than the one before. Now growth begins stacking on growth. The snowball finally starts rolling downhill. At 40, Jake and Michael received another promotion. Their salaries increased. Both earned more money than ever before. But something important happened. Michael increased his investments. Jake increased his lifestyle. The raise arrived, then disappeared. A bigger apartment, a newer vehicle, more spending, a better version of the same life. The money came in, the money went out, nothing remained. And that's the hidden danger of higher income. A bigger paycheck doesn't automatically create wealth. It simply gives you a bigger decision. Most people spend their raises before they receive them. Michael invested his, Jake consumed his, and year after year, the gap widened. Not the gap in income, the gap in freedom. At 50, life tested both men. A recession hit. The market crashed. Headlines screamed panic. People sold investments. People feared the future. Jake felt relief. At least he wasn't invested. Michael watched hundreds of thousands of dollars disappear on paper. For a moment, every instinct told him to stop, to sell, to protect what was left. But he didn't. The automatic transfer continued, month after month, buying shares when everyone else was running away. And years later, when the market recovered, as it always had before, those purchases became some of the most valuable investments he ever made. Because wealth is rarely built during easy times. It's built by refusing to panic during difficult ones. Then came 60, the age where the score becomes impossible to ignore. Jake opened his retirement account. The number was smaller than he expected. Much smaller. 30 years of work, thousands of hours, decades of effort. And suddenly the question appeared, how many more years do I need to keep working? Not because he loved working, because he couldn't afford not to. Michael opened his account too. The balance had crossed $1 million. Not from a lottery ticket, not from a business vachon, not from extraordinary income. From one automatic transfer, $500, month after month, year after year, 3 decades of patience, 3 decades of consistency, 3 decades of allowing time to do what time does best, multiply. Now imagine both men waking up at 65. One checks his schedule, the other checks his options. That's the real difference. Money was never the goal. Freedom was. The freedom to say no, the freedom to rest, the freedom to help family, the freedom to choose. And freedom is built long before it's needed. That's the lesson most people learn too late. The future is not created by dramatic decisions. It's created by ordinary ones repeated for years. Go back to that Friday afternoon, the payroll notification, the identical salary, the identical opportunity, the identical starting point. 2 phones, 2 men, 2 futures. One looked at his paycheck and saw money to spend. The other looked at the same paycheck and saw a worker he could hire. 35 years later, one paycheck was gone. The other was still working. And that's how 2 people can earn exactly the same amount of money and end up living completely different lives.